What's up, everybody? It's JD. Thanks for coming on board today. We're going to use a generative AI to build a business website. And today I've got a really neat tool for you. What you're seeing here is a first attempt that I made to use this AI to build a website for my fractional CTO consulting business. And as you can see here, it's a single landing page which has multiple sections that click to somewhere else. And I'll get into why that's important with doing this generative AI tool. But you'll also notice that when you get to the top of the scroll in the menu bar goes transparent. And as you go down, the menu bar is solid. It's a nice little polish there that we can put on using this AI tool. Over my decades of experience, I've designed, built, and implemented many different kinds of websites, SaaS applications, and user experiences. And that also means I've seen a lot of terrible design and implementation. I mean, just to be a decent web designer, one has to meld multiple layers of technology with an understanding of user experience, designing for multiple screen sizes, integrating images and content to get the desired effect. And on top of that, the interface design process can be very frustrating for low-knowledge stakeholders because they're not used to the iterative process of software and content development life cycles. And the tool we're going to use today is going to take a lot of headache out of this process. And with the right prompts, I'm going to show you how to take a lot of these skills or to basically take on the role of this decent web designer that I described earlier. Because this tool, as you can see with just this scroll here that I'm doing, all these images and all this content was written by the AI. I had absolutely nothing to do with any of the authoring of the content, images, icons. All I did was tell it what colors I wanted, what kind of website, and I massaged a lot of things. Because with this tool, it'll generate relevant images, content, and navigation menus with the right prompt. And then with additional prompts, we can, like I was saying earlier, we can massage this so that the patterns that we want can be used to change the theme, add sections, adjust elements, layout of a certain section of the site. We can also insert existing assets like our logo, or even take screenshots to show the AI what we want or what we'd like a layout to look like, irregardless of the colors in the screenshot, which is really cool. So I'll demonstrate that later on. But you combine all of these capabilities of the AI with the right prompts, and we can generate a very polished website. So the tool we're going to use today is called WebSim.ai. I have a screenshot here of what it looks like when you first get in after you log in. You can see here just some of the examples. Some people have done some game type looking things, some fairly complicated, looks like here a map for a VPN interface. But again, what this tool does is just generates the look that you want. It's not going to put the code behind forms or the interactive elements that you click on. It just gets you the design to go on to the next stage. To use this tool, it's very similar to OpenAI's ChatGPT. If you're familiar with that interface, there's a little chat field that you type in what you want. That's what we refer to as the prompts. You'll also need a Gmail account, which of course can be free. There's also a free level with WebSim that gives you 30 renders a day, which we'll be using in this video. But if you wanted to go to higher levels, there's 3 more. But I find that 30 a day is more than plenty to get through what we're going to do for this project. So the pros and cons of WebSim. The first thing, which is most obvious, I mean, it reduces your startup costs to do a basic website design, which, you know, can't be overlooked, but should be stated. Additionally, because you are talking to this decent enough web designer or good enough web designer, You could really get some prototyping themes and color ideas off the ground very quickly without a lot of cost. And as you'll see when I interact with the AI, it's pretty quick. In addition to the fast prototyping, it will pull in relevant content, pictures, icons, as well as you can give it pictures and icons that you want it to use. But I think what it does just off the bat, it pulls off of services like Pexabay, Pexels, and a couple other placeholder sites, all royalty-free images and icons. So you don't have to worry about any licensing there. But if you do want to use your own icons and branding, that's totally up to you. Some of the cons. So again, WebSim is just designed for generating a basic website or the static files that you need to move forward from there. So unfortunately, there's not at the time of the recording of this video a way to integrate what you're generating into a pipeline to deploy it out to a web server or under a domain name. So just keep that in mind, because you'll still need to hire somebody to deploy the files that you'll generate. And also, it's not designed for ongoing updates. Well, actually, that's not true. You can go in and make changes, but there's a quirk. Sometimes the AI can get confused, and oftentimes this is called hallucinating, or it's referred to as hallucination. The AI will either blow out your entire layout and just show you the piece of something that you wanted, which I'll show you a workaround for that. It's easy to recover from that, but it is a frustrating aspect to WebSim. But the other thing that it can do is when you start trying to make the website go beyond a landing page, which I was describing earlier, the reason why I'm doing it that way is because when you start adding subpages and linking around, there's this tendency for the AI to morph the previous pages and for the design to drift a little bit. So I'll get into some tips on how to get around the hallucinations and this design morphing that tends to happen if you try to take on too much with the tool. So the prompts that we're going to use are pretty basic. It's not like ChatGPT where you have to give the AI a ton of context, but I'll show you enough to get started, and then how to massage the look and feel as you go along. But essentially, you're going to talk to WebSim like you would any web designer. You'll also want to at least have a couple colors in mind, but even if you don't, you'd be surprised what WebSim will come up with. Also, keep in mind, AI is just not good at creating something from scratch. It has to have seen something from before. So that's why we use our prompts to cull pieces of things that it's seen and put it into our design. And so another way for us to do that, besides providing colors, we can take screenshots of websites that we like, or elements or layouts that we like. So these two screenshots I used in the first design that I showed you. And irregardless of the color, surprisingly, the AI, when I told it, hey, just use the layout of the picture in the back there, it just gave me a layout, assumed, okay, well, I know this is a fractional CTO website. I'll just generate content and pull in the appropriate images and generate link buttons for you. And that was it. Pretty easy. The second image, I wanted to have a navigation menu that floated above a hero with a tagline. And again, I just showed the AI this screenshot and it generated all the images for me. I think we're ready to get into this tool, and let's log in and go through what the first prompt is so we can provide WebSim with the right design context for the business website you want to build. Okay, so for our first prompt, we're going to show the AI something that we like. So I have this screenshot I used actually to design the fractional CTO site, but I still like this idea of the header image, background image with the logo and a transparent menu. So I'm going to use the same screenshot to build a bakery website that's a modern design. So let's ask the AI to use that screenshot. So I'm going to paste in this initial prompt here. Okay. And here we go. So we got the basic menu, and it's seen bakery sites before. Didn't insert a background image for some reason. Don't know why, but we'll work with that. Massage that to keep going. But like I said, the AI has seen many bakery sites before, and it knows that there's going to be menu, locations, contact, about. We could probably add an ordering section as we go along, but let's massage this. And you'll notice that it kind of pulled in like a pinkish and grayish color, which is actually very common with bakeries. But let's keep going with this and see what we can get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the AI to add an order section. Well, actually, now that I think about it, there's really not a whole lot down here. So let's just add each one of these as we go down. Here we go. Interesting how it's just picking a date here, just throwing it in there. Place an order, contact us. So that's pretty handy. Now, if I right click on elements, there's this other feature called Delve. And this is a really interesting feature. You can use this to go into a supposed page that would be linked to this, but I wouldn't recommend doing that at this point because as I talked about earlier, the AI has a tendency to morph the design as you go deeper into the site and try and go back up. So we're not going to do that at this moment. But what I am going to do is ask the AI to start adding images. And which is interesting this time around from the consulting site, it pulled in images automatically, but for some reason it's just not doing it this time around. But we can still ask the AI to do it for us. So we'll just ask it to add images to the menu section. And for whatever reason, it's not pulling the actual images in, but we can still right click. Oh, there we go. The AI is just a little slower today. And, pretty accurate because it knew these were cookies and artisan breads and pastries. But let's say we don't like the cookies image. We can right click and say reroll image, and it will go out and just find another one for you. There we go. Nothing like an image with a cookie that already has a bite out of it, right? Must be good. One of the features that I like about one-page websites is that when you scroll, the menu sticks to the top. and then becomes transparent when you go back to the top. So let's ask the AI to do that. Okay, so the AI did what is often done in design patterns, is that when you do scroll, you don't see anything change until you go past the background, and then it incorporates the accent color. This is a very common design pattern. I didn't even tell the AI that, it just sees that a lot. So pretty cool. Another thing that typically happens with this pattern, and I'm guessing the AI is going to do this automatically, is when I click on an item, it's going to scroll down to the section, and there it goes. So it didn't really scroll, it jumped, but that's fine. We could probably adjust that with some programming using another designer, or we could attempt to have the AI do it. But for now, let's just keep it simple. Also, too, you'll notice here, there's been a bit of a design morph. This is one of the frustrations, like I talked about with the AI. It changed the images. They're all different. In fact, this looks like this is probably a Gen AI image where you've got these weird patterns in the bread. Not unusual. So all I would say is just don't fuss with the image or the images until you get to the very end of your layout, because you're just going to be constantly fighting the AI. But you know, if it does annoy you, you can just click re-roll image and it pulls in something similar. I've also attempted in the past to try and ask the AI, hey, don't change anything when you do the changes that I request, but it just still does it anyway. So, and again, this is just the nature of generative AI. You'll have the same problems when you do images, video generation. You get a morph over time, and tracking where you like something is kind of the key to go back to. So in WebSim, there's this bookmark icon where you click this bookmark, and that gives you kind of a spot to say, hey, you know what? I really like this. Just keep that. So just click this checkbox. And now we'll always have this spot to go back to in case something really gets blown way out of whack. Or you know, we do a change and we go off and it just blows everything out. We can always go back to this reset point, as it were, and start our request again, or rework our prompt again. This just kind of shows you a really quick and dirty way to say, hey, here are my colors. Here's the layout that I want. Here's some image examples. Here's how I like it. And you can take and download this file. It gives you the HTML. All these images are linked to somewhere on the web, so you don't have to download those, but you could later on after you download the HTML, and pass them off to someone that can make more changes for you, saving you a lot of time. And then also that same person probably more than likely can also upload these files to a web server or load under a web domain for you. I'm going to make these images go the full width of the columns. So I'm going to ask the AI, make the images. So it sort of did what we asked, sort of kept the same images. Again, a little bit of design morph. But we can tell the AI to remove the padding and do some other things. But I just wanted to demonstrate that you can add sections, manipulate images. And again, you get this form for a contact, but there's no logic, or there's no coding underneath this form. that will do the submitting. You would have to hire a web programmer to do that for you. But, going to a web programmer with a layout is miles ahead of where most business owners are when they go to someone that will design and build a website for you. In fact, they probably would appreciate this a tremendous deal more than just going and say, hey, I need a bakery site. Can you just build me one? And not think about anything more than the menu, and then just, throw them the bare minimum, and then they have to kind of just wing it. So this will put you in a position, even if you're not fully designed, fully polished, this is miles ahead of where most people that want a website design are when they show up to the web designer and ask for design. Okay, so I had to trick the AI with a couple additional prompts to get it to replace the background image in the header, as you saw. I first just asked it to mimic the layout in the attached image, and it just put the image as the background image of the screenshot of another website in the header. And then once I got that image in there, then it was just a matter of, hey, create something else. Put something else in there that looks like, a display case in a bakery, and boom, pulled in a nice image of an actual bakery in the header. So now I think we've got a pretty close to what could get you rolling here, and we can tidy up a little more. So let's add a location, because you want to know where your bakery is. I'm going to say add a location section with an address and a map. That's pretty common. I didn't even tell it where to put it, and the AI is probably going to go, well, I've seen the map, near the bottom of the page, and it's usually in 2 columns, and I'll put it down by the footer. That's what I'm expecting. Because again, AI goes by what it's seen before. So I can make some assumptions here. So let's see if that assumption's correct. Okay, so let's see what it did for the location section. So assuming the AI was smart enough to know, hey, I wanted to add a location section, it added it to the menu. I'll click on it, and there we go. Called it Visit Us. That's interesting. But I don't really like how wide this map is. But honestly, there's really not a lot of choice there. So let's incorporate the Contact Us form together with these 2 sections, and see if that doesn't kind of clean up the layout a little bit. This is really cool. It saw that I took out the contact section and just made it Visit Us. So here we go. There's a little more cleanup we could do, but you're getting the layout mashed together. And again, we got a little design more for our images. Went back to the really narrow deal here. And it also saw that the colors in this image are different. So I think it darkened these images as well. Because again, the AI, when websites are designed, there's a color palette that's even in a lot of times in the pictures for very high-end websites. And so the AI seeing that and doing accordingly in the images. So that's fine. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these images match the width of the columns. going to say 100% of the width of each column. So that way we get around any padding. Sometimes the AI just makes them slightly wider. And in web design parlance, they call these cards. So you want the images to be 100 width of the card. So if the AI doesn't understand what I mean by columns, I may just say cards. So, but we'll try this and see what happens. Well, that's interesting. Let's re-roll this. See if it fixes it. Nope. All right, so I'll just say without padding. Let's try that. There we go. So now we got that coveted card look that I like. I just think that's cleaner. We still have our transparent menu effect. Doesn't look like the design morph's been too terrible. There's a lot of white space in here. We could address that at some point, but I'm not going to waste your time with that. But what I would like to do is maybe add another image to this About Us section to kind of give it a little more weight. And then, of course, every good business owner should have a blog, right? So we'll add a blog section. So here we go. Let's give it a roll. I'm going to say add a column to the About Us section, and in the second column add an image of a baker in the kitchen. Okay, well, instead we got an image of an apothecary, but let's re-roll this image and see if it still kind of thinks that's what it should be. There we go, and that is definitely an AI generated image. I mean, yeah, you can definitely tell that that's like a Mid-Journey-esque image. But you know, you can do a placeholder, and because this browser is pretty wide, it decided to make the image pretty big. So what we can do is shrink this, and you can see that it is a web-friendly website, and it's morphing the columns for you, which is already a huge leap for an inexperienced web designer. Going to a web designer that you want to take this in, it, like I said, is a huge leap for most business people to go, hey, I want a website design. Here's a layout. Go for it. Also, too, let's just look at Delve really quick. If I select and say Delve selection, it might take us to a sub page. I think that's what it'll do. Yeah, so it took us to an About Us page, which again, you can see the Delve function just blew out our layout, and it's just causing more issues. So we're just going to avoid that for now and move our About Us header. I'm also going to add the AI to expand the text. and incorporates organic ingredients, fast turnaround, and let's see, family events. Just throw out a couple of things and see what happens. It looks like I put that apothecary image in there. See, okay, so now because we delved, I think now the AI is going to constantly go back and forth. So it's another reason why I don't like to use the delve function. So I'm going to go back to, so I'm going to go back a couple renderings and start from there, because the AI is going to go down, it gets stubborn once it gets on a track like that. Yeah, so here we go. So let's start over. Let's start over with the About Us section and say, with an image of a baker in the kitchen. So again, in true generative AI form, we just have to go a few steps back and start fresh where we left off, and hopefully we'll get there. Boy, it's just really jamming on that apothecary image. So let's just re-roll this image. Yeah, there's that freaky finger thing. And missing a pinky. So let's, when I first saw it, I'm like, something's off. Couldn't put my finger on it to use a pun. Here we go. That's more like it. Count the fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4-ish. Okay. That's close enough. But you get the idea. So we got our About Us section. One other thing that I'd like to do is incorporate some more accent colors. Let's see, add background accent colors to alternating sections. There we go. So kind of went with a pink color, which is not my first choice, but it is, you know, if you studied color theory, it is a harmonic color. But maybe we could say change the accent color to a, I guess like a brownish hue. See what it does. Yeah, so it changed the entire theme of our site, but you know, it's going to take a few more tries to maybe get this to what we're looking for. I think this is a good point to stop today. And also, I think I'm down. Yeah, so I've reached the usage limit for today. So if you like this video, like, subscribe, comment below. I'll put some more links in the comments of other resources that you can use alongside WebSim. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.